Alright, so we should be recording. If you notice a difference in acoustics or anything like that, I have moved rooms for the weekend, so if I'm recording and it just sounds different, that's just because I'm in another room. But yeah, we'll get right into the podcast, I
And it's intercepted by
We'll start off with Notre Dame going down to Marshall, or Marshall coming to Notre Dame. Still screwed up because of the away game at Ohio State, but we'll talk about that later in the podcast. But to start, Marshall's coming up to Notre Dame. Notre Dame is prepped and ready. I think this is going to be just a bounce-back week for them. Is going to be back. He's going to be in his spot at left guard again. That should give a boost to this offensive line. That, and they're playing a slightly less physical front. And honestly, I'm very confident in what this Notre Dame team can do right now. Having them come in from last week, I think it's going to be, in a way, just a thing of, well, there's a lot of good and bad to take from what happened the week before, and now we're going to show what's going to happen to those lower-tier teams when you come into Freeman's house. And this is just going to be a couple things Buckner messes up that he's got to learn from, and a couple things that he's going to have learned from last week, and stuff like that. You're probably going to see a little bit of progression from him, hopefully, through a game. Going to see a slightly different look to the offense of how they play it. They're still going to play probably, hopefully, and I'm hoping more big body sets because we have a low number of receivers at the moment. But I want to see a lot of Matt Salerno because, for anyone who doesn't know, he is the favorite or one of the favorites on the roster of the show because now he belongs. He made a name for himself with the one catch against Ohio State, and a lot of people are like, "Who is this guy?" And I'm like, "This is who I've been talking about for years now, Matt Salerno. He was the dark horse to be here, and now some people actually know who it is." I was so happy to see him make that catch, and he hauled a good one in, too. There's not much more you can be happy about with him making a name for himself like that. I want to see more from him this week. If he can, I want him to show how good he really is. And not only that, you have some other players on this roster that it's like, they're better than they play. Like Lindsey, for example. He's better than he's really gotten the opportunity. He never really got too many targets last year. The ball didn't really go his way. It was a weird thing last game, too. I don't think it went Jaden Thomas's way very much. If he was on the field, I didn't see him very often. It didn't go Lindsey's way very often. And I saw him on the field a decent amount. It went Styles' way a little bit, Coltsy's way a little bit. It really got spread around and more or less to the running backs a lot in Mayer, which I want Mayer to get the ball as much as possible. We said it last year, and I've sat down and talked to Notre Dame fans, and they agree with me. Give Mayer the ball more. He's one of the best tight ends in the country. Use him. And I think Freeman's going to do it. I think Freeman should do it. Well, I think Reese should do it, technically, is the one who's calling it. Buckner comes into this game with no passing touchdowns. It's definitely going to change this game. And we are coming in on a Marshall team that just beat... Who is that? Is that Norfolk or somebody? I think it's Norfolk. They just came off a win against Norfolk State. My bad. Let's hope the game day guest picker doesn't go as bad as last week. I'm just saying, because I'm watching game day, but I don't have the volume up as I'm doing this. But yeah, as a side note, that guest picker went horrendous. But it's gonna be a way to bounce back at home. It's Freeman's home debut as head coach. I'm excited to see what he can do. I can't wait to see what he does in a unhostile crowd. And and this is a team that I think should do a little bit more rushing. They really attacked Norfolk State last week, and I get it, it's an FCS team, and they put up 380 yards and had 200-yard rushers. But I think the way they rushed that game, I think it'll be back, and you're going to want to counter that, and I think Notre Dame has the guys to counter that. But they are still missing Rasheen Ali, the top freshman rusher from last year, one of the top in the division, or in the bowl subdivision. But I think this is a Notre Dame team that kept Ohio State under 200 yards. Kept them under 200 rushing yards. They should have been under 125. If they hadn't gotten tired, I am convinced they stay under 125. And that tiredness was all in the fourth quarter when they started bull rushing up the middle. If that doesn't happen and they don't get tired, a completely different game. Freeman has to show he's come out and said after that game and the Oklahoma State game, I have not been aggressive enough in the second half. Then be more aggressive. I want to see it today. I want to see it at 2:30. Show me you're going to be more aggressive. Play it. Show it. Reese, let's see if he continues to make me doubt him as a signal caller. Because there was some bad calls on both sides last week. Like Al Golden, I think, blitzed on a 3rd and long, and it ended up being a first down. He blitzed, I think, 2 backers. Or something like a backer and a DB. It was 2 in the box. But it was something that you would have saw a lot more, or you would have been better suited on a 2nd and 10. It was a 2nd and long. I think 2nd and 10 would have, or it was 3rd and 10, so would have been better suited on a 2nd down, and the 3rd down you would have been better running something like a zone, trying to keep them from converting. They didn't do it. It didn't work. I mean, I'm all for all-out blitzes, but right time, right place. And I mean, Game Day alluded to it of what I did catch of it already this morning, that they basically called it a trap game without calling it a trap game, some of them. And I get it. Notre Dame's coming off Ohio State. They think, they might overlook Marshall. Marshall's actually a decent team. I get it. They're a decent team. But can they stop Michael Mayer? Can they stop Estime alongside that and a combination of the committee at running back of Estime, Diggs, Tyree, however they run it this game? Not only that, what if Salerno goes off? What if Lindsey starts burning people? Or Merriweather gets some time? That's who I would love to see today. What if Merriweather gets some time and just starts mossing people? Because he's a big, fast receiver. Don't get that very much. I'm scared of that. I would be scared of that if I were them. But yeah, Jarrett Patterson's back. He's filling in, or his fill-in, Andrew Kristofic, did okay. It wasn't the best. Alright, I get it. It's good to have him back. I mean, this line, it's another decently turned over line since last year. A lot of changes moving around. But I think we have enough time before games like Clemson where we can do this and kind of get the chemistry and the know there. You're probably not going to see silent count like you did. You shouldn't see silent count like last time. I don't think. Not in our own stadium. I mean, there was someone who did it last week. I can't remember who it was, and I was talking about it with who I was watching the game with. And we said, it's sad that they're doing silent count in their own stadium. If you know who it was, let me know. I got to ask, and I'll figure it out. But I mean, that game was a lot closer against Ohio State than everyone thought. And I think that this game, everyone says it's going to be a trap game. I think they have no problems whatsoever with handling this game. No problems. I mean, you can say it's a trap game all you want, but it's not a trap game when if this team can get up like I think they can by halftime and then just say, all right, flip the switch, cruise control, just do whatever. Freeman said he's not going to expect to get much of rotation of the depth guys. I get it. You're playing Marshall. You may see them late 4th. You may not. I mean, if the game looked like some of them did last year where you're blowing or 1 or 2 did last year where you're blowing a team out by like 40, 30, and you just say, then I would see like, all right, take Buckner, or unless you think Buckner needs the experience, say, all right, Buckner out, Pine in. And let's say Lenzy out, Merriweather or insert receiver here in. Or Mayer out, Bauman, or anybody else in the tight end room in. Even Holden Stays could see time if it was a big blowout game at the end. But it's just about getting ahead and staying ahead. And I think Notre Dame can do that. I say that all the time about playing these weaker opponents. If you can just get ahead and stay ahead by a decent amount, you don't have to do much after that. Not only that, I think with the Ohio State loss, I think this team will be hungry to win. I think that'll have to be their whole season, is they have to be hungry, they have to want it, they have to fight for it. And with how this team rallies around Freeman, I have no doubts about that. I have no doubts about the mentality this team can have or how they can mold that mentality. It's just about doing it with Freeman. Anyways, going over to Ohio State. Now, the thing about Ohio State, that game, it was close until the end when Notre Dame really started to get tired and started giving up things. And I think it was just a bad game from Reese in play calling at times. Same thing with Al Golden. He had some struggles early or late. He had struggles late. The ball wasn't spread like I hoped it would be. Lenzy didn't get many targets, like I said. I didn't see Jaden Thomas much. Salerno didn't have much outside a couple targets. Mayer didn't get as many as I wanted. I didn't see much of the other tight ends that I kind of hoped, because with having 6 receivers, 5 of them being scholarship, you want to see a little more. With how many tight ends we have, I wanted to see a little more of 12, 13 personnel, big formations that you can really pound the rock behind or throw short with to the tight ends or do whatever, because we have the personnel to do it. You have a 3-headed monster at running back where nobody does the exact same thing. No one has the exact same role. Estime, he's the bull rusher. You saw a lot of him in that game. Diggs, he's more of your speed guy. Tyree is more of your... He's most known for he can break off an explosive play sometimes. He's done it a few times. A lot last year. He did a lot. And he's also known for being able to... he has some good movement. And he can catch out the backfield. But I think he's an all-around back. When you really look at him, I feel like he's an all-around back that can do a little bit of everything, but he excels at these certain things that shouldn't be overlooked, too, when you call him an all-around back, a kind of balanced back. And that's the thing. I didn't really want to call him a balanced back because he's not necessarily balanced. He can do a little bit of everything in a way that not everyone else can. And that's not necessarily balanced. Balance can be all around, but all around doesn't necessarily mean balanced, to me. At least how I see it. But, yeah, no, they did a very good job stopping and holding Ohio State. I mean, they averaged 7+ explosive 20+ yard plays a game. Last year, they got 4. Not only that, they limited the offense very well again when they played Ohio State. They limited them very well. There was times where I was like, what are you doing? But other times I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Penalties did hurt us. Discipline is something that we're going to need to nail down by those big games later in the season. But I think that's all with time. I think part of it was rust. Part of it was so loud and you had the silent snap count from Notre Dame's offense, etc., etc. Other things here and there. But I think this game's going to be a lot different. Notre Dame's going to come out early and quick and heavy, and you're not going to have much of a problem there. I don't have very many worries in this game. Could it go like FSU did last year? Sure. Could it go the complete opposite, where we knock them down, they don't get back up, and we don't give them a chance to get back up? Sure. Do I expect either? I think a little bit of both. I think you're I'll give it a middle ground. Not gonna blow them out, but not gonna be down. Not gonna be very close. And I think that's a good spot to say where the game's gonna be right now, just because of how it looks. What else was I going to say? I don't know, but looking around and engaging kind of some of the other matches in college football, you do have Alabama, Texas today. That's a big game. I don't know which ones I'm going to be watching, but I'll probably tweet about the ones I do watch at some point, and that one's probably going to be one I do catch some of. I mean, I don't have... Normally, I have people here with me. The line actually is 20.5 on the Notre Dame. I like that. And I think the over-under was 60. But... It's 60 or 50. But usually I have somebody here. Like, I watch games with people, usually. And that's what keeps me cycling through games, because some days I'll be interested in only like 2 or 3 games, and then I won't watch very many of the others. But I'm not going to have somebody here this weekend, so I'm kind of in like a game day thing of which games do I want to watch again, so I don't know which ones I'm going to catch, because I'm very random each week. It depends on who's who. But yeah, I think that's the big game this week. Yeah, at least one of them. Louisville did win last night. They bounced back from getting beat by Syracuse. That's kind of sad that you get destroyed by Syracuse. I don't think there's any coming back from that. They brought up that Louisville bounced back beating UCF. I said, yes, but you lost to Syracuse. That is worse than just being like, oh yeah, they came back and beat UCF by 1 touchdown, or by 6 points. Great. You still got destroyed. It doesn't make me feel any better. Arkansas State, Ohio State, that's their little tune-up game. It's 44.5 line. Funny. That's probably how it's going to be, too. Probably around where it's going to be. Miami again, tune-up game playing Southern Miss. Arkansas, South Carolina. That'll be a decent game. Yeah, there's still a lot of tune-up games. Like Army UTSA it's probably going to look like a tune-up game. They give the line to UTSA? Did we not learn about Army last year and the year before that they like to be good with their triple option? They're decent with their triple option. I'm like, really, dude? Really? Really? You're that good with triple option? Houston, Texas Tech. They actually favor Texas Tech on that matchup. I don't blame them. I really don't. Yeah, there's not very many huge games. I mean, there is some good ones, like I just said, Texas Tech game. I mean, you have the Alabama game. There's not super many, again, this week. There's not super many. Your first couple of weeks are usually those matchups that you're not really going to watch. USC Stanford's going to be a good one on the West Coast, 7:30. That one I'm going to watch because that is 2 rivals of Notre Dame that I really want to see. I really want to see that game. LSU is favored by 45 over Southern. Okay. Now this is one they can't lose. They went from a game that they got beat in the last seconds to, well, they can't block our field goals, right? These guys can't hurt us. The bad men can't hurt us here. Michigan, Hawaii. That one's not going to be very good. Boston College v Tech. Virginia Tech. That one, I'm going to watch. That one's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be as close as the line. Same thing with Baylor, BYU. BYU's a team that I wasn't really necessarily a favorite of before the season. I just said, I don't know what to expect from them, and they actually look pretty good. I think they'll be a team that Notre Dame really has to pay attention to when they play. And let me just know, Oregon East Washington doesn't have a line. I think that's kind of funny, because Oregon got leveled by Georgia. But yeah, there's not many games that like really stick out to me this week. There's a couple, but that's very limited to what they are. I mean, there's probably another game or two I didn't mention that would be good, like maybe Missouri, Kansas State, but Wait, they only have Northwestern a 10-point favorite. Why? Why? It's Duke. It's Duke, people. They're not great. This isn't basketball. They're not a powerhouse. I make that joke, and then Notre Dame's going to get destroyed by Duke if they play them this year, and I'm pretty sure they do. I'm 99% sure they do. Oh, great. I just signed that one. That's gonna come back to bite me, I have a feeling. I say that every time I say something about a team, but we'll see. Haven't even gone and checked any of our really Notre Dame stuff on Twitter this week. I'm surprised. I haven't gone after any Marshall fans. I haven't gotten any online arguments in a while over football, and I have a feeling it's going to come back with a vengeance. Just as a note, this game did sell out, so it'll be interesting to see the turnout in terms of who shows up and how many shows up for Notre Dame. And this actually, there's a good note right here. Notre Dame's rush efficiency. It's going to be important with Patterson back. And the gauge of rush efficiency is going to gauge whether O-line is a potential issue, or Ohio State was a bad day and a bad matchup, or it was a tough matchup, I should say, and you were also missing Jarrett. It depends. It really does. That's actually a good thought. I didn't think of that beforehand. I like that to kind of look at. That will be something that's probably brought up tomorrow on the Holy Gator. But we'll see. Anyways, I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Was Marshall, Ohio State. That's about it. Anyways, this has been the Golden Dome. I get it, we're back. And I forgot to mention earlier in the video, run the intro, but we're going to run the intro anyway. So if it sounds a little weird that I don't mention the intro, we run into the intro and then go, that's why. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. I'll see you Sunday, by Sunday, with more podcasts. Peace.